talk. Hey you, I think you're my subsistence. Hey you, or am I wrong? And now I lose my own. It's like my love is out of my mind. And you are not more than a dream. So wait, can you even hold me? Hey, baby, you are not more than a dream. Hey, you want it. Hey, you, it could be more. Hey, you, honest.
Kyle from Newcastle Fans TV and Nova Radio Northeast. Welcome to the Black and White Show. This week it's been one hell of a week from back to front, and we're going to be going through all of that this week. As I said before, I'm your host Kyle Thompson. I'm joined by Rob, Lee, and new recently announced Twitter admin Sam. So it should be a good week. But remember, you can always contact with the number on screen via WhatsApp if you want to text in and ask a couple of questions. Because later on tonight in part 4 we've got Q&A. So all questions on and off the field, if you just want to send questions in, you can do. But if you want to send them in before that, that's fine, and I'll answer them here on the show as well. But this week we've got loads to go through. We've got the match yesterday, we've got the Takeover talk, we've got the transfer roundup, got quite a few things. But before that, I want to tribute to Kobe Bryant because the news kind of broke when we were on the air last week, and there was news of it may be a hoax or something like that. But after the show, we did find out that the news was true, that Kobe Bryant had sadly died in a helicopter crash. So condolences to his family. His little girl died in the crash as well, which is really sad. And it's one of the few times I've seen the sporting world actually stand still when something happens, and just everything, loads of tributes pouring into Kobe Bryant. And I really wish nothing but the best to his family at this difficult time, and I'm sure that the rest of the lads at the table will share that with us. But I just wanted to start off with a tribute to him because he was massive for the sport of basketball and sport in general. But yesterday was so eventful. Time to go into Newcastle news. It was so eventful I've decided not to talk about the show first. I'm actually going to talk about the Takeover and everything that's been leading up throughout the week. I'm going to make this quite a short part because I don't want to drag on about the Takeover, but I feel a bit of an update's needed from our side on Newcastle Fans TV. And yeah, Lee, I'll come to you first, mate, on this one, since you're so favourable of the Takeover, not wanting to do videos and everything like that. So it's been 8 long days, mate, since the Wall Street Journal announced this article with such an interest. Amanda Staveley, the Reuben brothers, and Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman looking to buy the club. You thought I forgot, didn't you?
What's his full title?
But no, I don't know his full name. But if someone wants to tell us in the live chat, you can do, because I'll have a go at it trying to pronounce all of it. But yeah, Lee, I'll come to you first, mate. Do you think their interest is actually genuine this time?
I'm still doubtful, don't get me wrong. I think every Newcastle fan will feel the same. It has died down, I've said on record the last couple of days. I think it's a good thing, because too much speculation we had with the Benzai group last year was just a bit too much, and a few people believed that was happening back then. But look, a lot of respectable sources that obviously you look at who knows the most, and our next relation is probably what, the media. So you look at your respectable sources, maybe the Times, maybe the Telegraph, maybe Sky to some extent as well. Pete Graves has obviously spoken out as well, and he believes, and these respectable sources do believe, that it is a genuine interest in there, and they have the proof of the funds, which the Benzai group didn't actually go and show. I'm still very much doubtful, because what does Mike Ashley really want out of this?
Money, Lee. I mean, that's the main thing he wants. He wants a lot of money, and as we know from the past with Peter Kenyon and Amanda Staveley, as it happens from the get go. There's always something with Mike Ashley, and he always looks to move the goalposts in some kind of way. The summer's it's very evident of what happened in the summer with the BCG group, that they can move the goalposts, and he can move the goalposts, and change everything up to fit his tune. And it's all on. It's going to have to all be on his terms, in my opinion, because the problem is Mike Ashley. You could offer him 400 million. He would look for 410. He wants sports direct in the ground for the next 10 years, something like 10% of the club. There's been loads of reports in the past week, and it's been a confusing week for Newcastle fans all round, because we don't know what to believe, we don't know who to believe, and that came on to my next point perfectly, actually, because there's a lot of clickbaity stuff in the media at the moment. Some I've seen with potential demands. Even today, I think it was the Daily Mirror, linked this Mohammed bin Salman to Manchester United again after he was linked with them in the summer, and I don't know. I just think there's just loads of clickbaity titles, because they know every Newcastle fan's checking Twitter every 20 seconds. Do you know what I mean? So, Rob, I'll come to you. What's your thoughts on journalists going for clickbaity titles and maybe telling a fib or two to try and get clicks? Because it is definitely happening.
Oh yeah. It is definitely happening, and I think journalists are they're kind of between a rock and a hard place here, because they need clicks in order to try and get the money to make ends meet in their day job. And yet sometimes you have to just try and not lie, but try and exaggerate what the truth is. Like for example, I noticed earlier in the week in the Chronicle, it was Lee Ryder posted something on his personal Twitter account, and then I saw something that the Chronicle was promoting. It was basically the same story that Lee Ryder was talking about, but it was a very clickbaity title, saying here is what the next steps are in the Newcastle takeover, something along those lines. But it's really difficult for journalists nowadays. But I guess it's just one of those. If you're a reader, don't believe everything that you certainly read.
I think a lot of Newcastle fans, me included, have learned this over the summer, not to read it too much into it. For me, no news, as Lee says before, is good news. Like, it's just it was refreshing just to get back to the football and the normal routine of things throughout the weekend. Yes, the match wasn't fantastic, as we'll talk about soon. But Sam, I'll come to you as a Twitter admin of Newcastle Fans TV. You post news mostly. So when you see these clickbaity titles, does they confuse you what to post, or what's your take on it? Because you don't want to come across as a liar to these people. I know I've had that with when I post on Facebook and things like that, and you want to make sure you're posting the right things, because you don't want to fool fellow fans, do you?
It's an absolute minefield. It's a case of who do you believe, especially on Twitter as well.
All in the know and the barbers, and the lad of Geordie Shaw last time, knowing things. So
look, takeovers very rarely get played. Well, no, they don't get played out in public. So with it going quiet this week, that's only a good thing. From a Twitter standpoint, I try to be very
report the facts, innit?
Yeah, but
and where the ways are coming from.
It's who you believe, and everyone's going to be guilty at some point of posting something which isn't true, but it's always posted in good faith at the time. It's a minefield, but with it going quiet this week, I would see that as a good thing. But Mike Ashley's notoriously difficult to deal with, so believe it when you see it. Believe it when you see me under the Bobby Robson statue with cans.
Hashtag cans. I mean, it's got to happen one day, surely. But I'm going to have a look into the live chat and see what people think, whether this is a hashtag takeover, hashtag cans, and hashtag peck has been a recent one on Twitter with Pete Graves. But I'm going to have a look into the live chat and see what people think. That's their fake chic over, professional, it's move, man. I don't know, I can't find it now. He says professional, no, chic fake over. That was the comment that I do remember. But there's more fake over than takeover in the comments tonight. So I don't think Geordie's going to be fooled once. I seen a tweet last week I put on the Facebook page, actually. Fool me once, fool you. Fool me 37 times, which has been literally the takeover. Every transfer window feels like being linked with like Jethro Williams again, because it was like 6 or 7 windows, weren't it, Andy Carroll. But
don't forget Das Post. Bastos, sorry.
Bastos, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Bastos. It's actually the first window last that weren't actually linked with him at any point. It turned to like Giroud and things like that.
That's surprising considering we need a striker.
He's doing well at Frankfurt.
Yeah, he's got a good strike partner as well.
More on that later with the transfer developments in anyway. But Lee, I'll come to you. Do you think it's a takeover again, or do you think there's something in it this time? Do you think it's going to happen?
I'm very dubious. I was last year with the Binzai group because I said last year that why is it being played out third party? No one actually said official stuff. But the one thing that the media have said differently this time around is that the club have not denied it. So when the media asked questions to Newcastle, the media have not turned around and said no comment, no comment. They haven't denied it. They've actually spoke about it, but they're just not denying it. So you can read into that what you will. A journalist's job, of course, we are relying on them to some extent.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have in good faith. You can believe in who you want and trust who you want. I have my own. Mine's a small knit.
Who are yours, Lee?
I think I like Luke Edwards because he questions it, and he's the only one for me who questions it. Obviously Keith Downey, and you'd probably say Pete because obviously he's a genuine Toon fan. He wouldn't lie. He gets enough stick as it is on Twitter. And then I'm struggling a little bit.
I like George Colgan.
Yeah, George Colgan.
Mark
Mark Douglas.
Yeah.
Mark Douglas.
Some good
So 5 or 6. And then you think, okay, we're relying on them because let's face it, unless you've got, a guy who works at the training ground, one of those people, you're not going to know much, are you? But I think
they are basically our
Source.
representatives.
Yeah.
Our representatives in those nitty gritty right there in the situation.
So we don't know nothing, and they're our next best thing. Our third party to the club. Our next
bit of a magnifying glass to the inside of the
middleman, I guess.
Yeah,
but you hope. And those 5, 6 people that we've mentioned, we'd probably trust them more than us.
Fair enough. But my take on this one, because as I said before, I didn't want to go through this too much. So after this, I'm going to go to a break. But I'm not going to say, to be honest, if it's going to happen or not. But what I will say is this takeover, alleged takeover, if you will, I think it's the most genuine it's been in 13 years. We can talk about the Binzai group, but I don't think they were serious going through like Peter Redding and things like that. This to me is a very legit and very serious bid with serious people wanting to buy. I think the stars are aligning a bit for it because the Reuben brothers, one of them's a Newcastle fan, Amanda Staveley, a Newcastle fan, and Mohammed bin Salman has a lot of money. There's a lot of money there. There's no problem. He spent more on a yacht than he's rumoured to buy Newcastle United for. He spent more on a picture than he's rumoured to buy Newcastle for. So the money's there. That's not a problem. There's no speculation on proof of funds because they can find 350 million down the side of the couch, as far as I'm concerned. So, for me, it's a serious bid that they're looking for. But the problem will always be, and this is what the journalists have said, is Mike Ashley. That's the main problem. And to me, if this takeover does fail and it falls through the cracks yet again, for me, it's one clear statement, and that's it: that the club isn't for sale if this fails, because everything's aligned for this to work now. 2 Newcastle fans out the 4 wanting to buy it, or
doesn't the Reuben brothers own a business near here? I'm sure I've seen that.
So they own Arena Racing Company, which owns Newcastle Racecourse,
That's it.
Sedgefield Racecourse, Hexham, Doncaster, Chepstow, loads.
Yeah.
Along with the
I thought there was
Jockey
a
Club.
business round here.
Yeah, along with the Jockey Club, it's
So
the biggest racecourse ownership.
In the business sense, they're quite known up here, the Reuben
Oh, yeah.
brothers, so to have a stake in the football club would be fantastic as well. Well, for me, as it is, if this fails now, if this fails, I don't think it's for sale, and I think the facade that it is for sale, if it falls through, is just a massive PR stunt in itself, and people are just trying and wasting time basically, because I think if it does fail, it's just a PR stunt, and that's my take on it. But that is the end of part 1 on the takeover. Let us know what you think in the live chat of the takeover talk and everything like that. But in part 2, we'll be talking about the football, the more important stuff, of course, as yesterday wasn't a fantastic day, was it? But we're going to be talking about that in depth. But remember, on screen you can contact and text into the show 074 764 97166 if you want to text into the lads. We've got a Q&A later on, so you can send non-football and football related questions. But see you in a couple of minutes to talk everything on the Black and White Show. See you in a minute. back everyone to the Black and White Show. This is part 2 on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. I'm your host Kyle Thompson. I'm joined by Rob, Sam and Mr. Lawler himself, Lee. So we're going to be talking about the football now, but before we do that, I've got a couple of WhatsApp questions that came through throughout the week, and I'm going to ask the questions now. The first one coming from David G in Middleton. Is it time to accept that Matty is a better talent than Sean, and if one of them has to go, it's Sean that has to make room for Matty? ? I'm asking the table because I'm not choosing between the brothers. Like, no way. Lee, I'll come to you.
Yeah, on form you've got to. I think Matty's proved that he's not so much first team through and through, but he's proved this season that he can be involved in the first team and be, it's his breakthrough season. Sean obviously last season played a consecutive games until he was injured, whereas Matty's been coming in for a game or two, coming out for 2 or 3, coming back in. But you have to say so far this season, I think Matty's been the better. But it's two local lads that you want to keep at the club, because really they're not going to age and probably get the best form until after mid-25s, mid-20s onwards. But you've got to keep those two lads and get Matty's contract sorted ASAP.
Yeah, that's got to be sorted out. Like, Sam, I'll come to you. If you had to choose between one of them, it's like picking between your mum and dad, isn't it?
It's like picking your best son.
Yeah. Who's going out of the two of them? If you have to choose, because for me, it's like who would you rather have present a TV show on a deck? Do you have the two of them, or none of them at all? Welcome to you, Sam.
Yeah, I don't want to pick.
That's why you're on this show, Sam, to make those decisions. Unlike Kyle sitting on the fence, make that decision now.
This is why you have a squad of players. Obviously, last season was Sean's breakout season. This season's been Matty's. At the moment, you would take Matty.
There you go.
Oh God.
But obviously Sean's not in form at the moment. But
you hope he comes back.
Form is temporary.
Exactly. He will refine his form.
Of course he will. For me, before I come to you, Rob, on it, it's got to be the two of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think the same, Rob?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We need to keep them both, and as Lee said, these guys are a good few years away before we see them in their supposed prime. So keep them both, definitely.
They're both the future of the football club. You need to keep the Longstaff brothers together. Yeah. I mean, Christ, they kept the Army brothers together for how long? And they were useless. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. David G actually sent 2 questions in. I just noticed this. If we sell to the consortium and have substantial backing, would you replace Bruce immediately?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a really good question.
Yeah. No, you can't.
No, but
I don't think so.
To be fair, I was speaking.
Doesn't deserve to.
Exactly, yeah.
I was speaking to my dad about this actually last week. If the owners came in, would get rid of Bruce straight away. He thinks absolutely. He talked us round because I thought, well, he's doing all right, but it's a bit like, would you let Steve Bruce loose with £200 million? That was his thinking, and I don't know.
Would it be Bruce who makes those decisions though?
No.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, it's not nice when you're sort of being asked to be brought in, do a job, and to almost be taken advantage of, just to sort of keep the sinking ship, trying to keep that sinking ship afloat. And all of a sudden, when times have changed, just to sort of stab him in the back and say, "Oh, we don't need you anymore." It's not nice.
I mean, no, but it's a difficult one. I mean, it's a bit unfair on Bruce, I will say that, but
if you look back through recent history of takeovers, what tends to happen is
it's a small shop.
They stick with the manager, and at the first hint of any
Mark Hughes, Man City.
Mark Hughes, like Man City.
Ranieri at Chelsea as well.
They persevered with Mark Hughes.
Well, for a short period, because then Mancini came in.
He played 12 games under the new owners.
Yeah, Mancini came in around. It was around Christmas time.
But when you've got Robinho, who was then pretty good striker, and when he was like 13th in the table, with that sort of quality of squad, even that's sort of way below par. I know the Man City owners have really high standards now, but even back then they weren't as high. Those standards weren't as high back then, and they still got rid of him, and deservedly so. I think.
While stealing one fair, Dave G's messages that he sent in, 2 more came in. So this is fantastic. It's a note for future presenters, because we'll mix it up every week here on the Black and White Show. But I'm going to go on to the next one. He hasn't left his name, But he said, how on earth are we 10th in the league? What are your thoughts on safety for another season? It's a good question. Sam, I'll come to you on this one. Do you think there's an element of luck to us being 10th, or do you think we'll be all right next season as well? If, say, the situation's still the same, we're still in Darshly and things like that.
No, we are getting away with it this season. If you look at the stats, expected goals, shots on target, I'm not a huge lover of them kind of statistics, but what can't speak can't lie, and they all have us 18th, 19th, 20th.
Yeah.
So we're overachieving, so you've got to give Steve Bruce a bit of credit for that. Football does tend to even itself out, so yesterday was probably one of them cases where we didn't win a game we were expecting to, as opposed to the Everton game where we got a draw that we did not deserve, and we nicked the win against Chelsea. So,
aren't we 7 unbeaten?
Yeah, but 3 games of that was against League One teams.
We are 7 games unbeaten.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But I'll come to the next one. It hasn't left a name again, but do we need a striker? If so, we've been linked with the likes of Joseph Martinez, so could we get him? I'd open the floor and say absolutely, I'd want him straight away. That celebration where they do that thing, where he does that thing with Miggy, I'd love to see that in front of the Gallagher. But what do you think, Lee?
How much are they wanting? Because we've had a Joe Litton case, haven't we? I would probably try and loan him in the off-season, see how well he develops, then buy him. It's a bit more of a safer option. I think the club will probably be safe because we know that obviously January transfers, which we'll talk later, is more safeguarded with the buys and loans. I would do that, but I wouldn't splash out crazy money because we've seen it with Joe Litton. So
absolutely,
that's the only way.
It's something I was going to. I'm going to be touching on in part 3 of the show with the transfer stuff, because a striker was probably one of the main targets we should have went for. But someone messaging in, just making sure this is the real one, because last time I got a fake one. So who are you? Who's the one lying and saying you're the black and white show? There's only one black and white show, and believe it, this is it. But no, this is definitely the real one. So if you want to keep texting in,
WhatsApp.
We'll keep WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah.
Sorry, I'm showing my age. But this one's from Lewis Robb, saying, I think Steve Bruce has done a very good job under the circumstances, and fans aren't willing to give him enough credit because we see him in past jobs. If Rafa had came out and said he wanted a cup run in mid-table 7 points above the relegation zone, fans would call him a god. I actually agree with this to some extent. If we win the 4th round going to replay at Oxford in 7 points above the drop after the last season Rafa had, they'd want a statue of him. So I do agree with Lewis to a certain extent. Thank you for sending that in, mate. But I got a bit went a bit off there, but that's fair enough. We're interacting with followers, so time to talk about the match yesterday against Norwich. And I mean, like usual, we'll dissect and go through everything, but very disappointing from the get-go. For me, we should have done more, but we'll talk about why we should have done more a bit later on. But as on screen, the team is out, so what do you think of the team starting, Rob?
The team that started, I think, was a good selection, a decent selection, and I think it's more or less. I know you could say about the 5 at the back, it didn't really go that well against a team like Norwich. I completely agreed with you when you said in your quick thoughts after the game that sort of system works really well against top teams that are above us in the table.
Yeah.
Norwich, however, terrible away record, terrible second half record. They are not staying in this division. This was a huge missed chance for 3 points, so I think the system might have a part to play in that.
Fair enough. Lee, were you happy with the lineup?
I would like to see the newbies all start. I can understand Danny Rose not starting. Lazaro, because we've had an issue with the right wing back situation with Yedlin, Kraft, and Mankey was probably the best out of those 3, but he hasn't been fully fit, so I've chucked him in. But you probably touched on Lazaro later, but I would have liked to see him start. But Norwich come flying out the blocks and pressed really, and that surprised me. The pressed were right at the beginning, and I was next to Sam.
I wasn't surprised. I
thought
Norwich play, mate.
I thought we'd have a little bit of the ball, and they were like in your face, and we were struggling the first 5-10 minutes, and it's like, whoa, this is a sign of things to come.
And Paul's put in the live chat, Quick Thoughts highly recommended. I would also recommend the Quick Thoughts, just for shouting it out, mate.
It's that good, people copy off it.
I mean, there's only one KT in UFC, like, and that's me. But Sam, I'll come to you with this one. You warned about the corners in the final word yesterday, and their first opportunity about 8 minutes in, corner goes in, and Sam Byram, the smallest bloke on the field, wins a header 6 yards out. I don't know what you think of that, but surely after 6 minutes they've got to be a bit more aware.
It's alarming how ropey we look defending corners and set plays at the moment. It really is. This has been an ongoing, recurring theme for way too long now. Way too long. Like you said, the smallest player on the pitch has a free header 6 minutes in.
Yeah.
Mental. That shouldn't be happening. We conceded at Wolves from a corner. Dendoncker, absolutely free.
Yeah.
We conceded twice at Villa Park from free kicks. Norwich could have scored 1 or 2 yesterday from set plays.
Bournemouth as well from a set
Bournemouth,
piece as well.
that was quite neat and tidy, to be fair.
Yeah,
but still it's a goal conceded from a corner.
I agree, mate. There's a lot of
Something
we're good
to
at set
happen.
pieces going forward because we're one of the leading teams in Europe, as it happens for set pieces. But from a defensive point of view, you can tell we've missed. I think it was his name, Mikel Anishia, who worked on the set pieces under Rafa.
Harry Potter, yeah.
We're fairly decent when he was around, but since he's left, we're just getting worse and worse, and it's starting to worry us, like, because Sam Byram winning headers. I mean, good footballer, don't get us wrong, but he's not great in the air, and he's not an aerial presence, if truth be known. But that's looking at the chance. But if you're going to get a positive out of it, I suppose you could look at the save as well. And Martin Dubravka, this goalkeeper, man, I actually love this goalkeeper. I've been saying the best since Shea Given. He's definitely on a par with him for sure, and that's massive complimentary status for Martin Dubravka. His shot stopping ability is absolutely unbelievable. I know we'll talk about Tim Krul later, but in terms of out and out quality, he just blows him away. Just absolutely fantastic goalkeeper. This save that he made. And honestly, I put this on Facebook last night. If it weren't for Martin Dubravka, I actually think we'll be in the bottom 3 right now. I think he's saved well that many times and bailed out that many times. It's unreal, and I think if it weren't for Dubravka and his unbelievable shot stopping power, we would be in there. We would be in the relegation battle at the very least, for sure. But to continue on with the game, Norwich kept piling on the pressure. Another save from Dubravka. The ball goes into the box very poorly headed up with DeAndre Edlin, who was targeted a lot yesterday. Headed poorly out with Timo Pukki, who has plenty of time, and he hits the ball, and Dubravka saves very well again. And Norwich could have easily been 2-up league, couldn't they?
You just worry because that first 5-10 minutes was a sign of things to come. And it's like, you mentioned obviously set pieces already, Sam. The amount of corners they had was like 9 or 10. Norwich will go away from that game feeling aggrieved because that was a sensational performance minus the goals from their part. And I looked back and I watched the highlights back when I got back in, and the commentators were all saying they should have went with 3 points. I have to agree with that. All the pundits, Newcastle we haven't been playing well in a long time, probably since West Ham away. That's when that first hour.
The first 60 minutes against West Ham. I thought I was dreaming sitting in the front row that day. We all
got a shot on TV that day, didn't we?
I all did. But
it was Norwich. That probably is a banker for them to go and win. You would think, right, we'll have to target this game, and they'll feel aggrieved because that an extra 2 points will squeeze them up a bit. But I think, in all honesty, I think that's a point gained. Yeah. Looking at it, it is a massive point for us gained.
I mean, I know we're talking negatives, but after this chance from Pukki, Newcastle got one. I mean, it's hard to believe, but we actually got a chance at home against bottom of the league. Lascelles plays it out wide to Yedlin, and to be fair to Yedlin, I've just given him a bit of stick before, but he does a lovely turn that gets around Sam Byram. He runs to the byline, and after a couple of bad crosses beforehand, puts it right on the money and heads towards Jolton, who, to be fair, the stick that he gets heads it very well across goal. Very well saved by Tim Krul, but it falls to Miguel Almiron, and for me, he should be scoring that.
Gotta be.
No doubt in my mind. I looked at it back in the highlights, and it's just an unacceptable miss for me. I mean, we wouldn't have deserved to be in front, but we should have been in front on the basis of play. for me there. But that was the first half, and I just had, like, when half-time whistle blew, I was like, really shocking performance all around. Surely it can't get any worse. Did you think we could still get the win, Sam?
Yeah, because that's what we've done pretty much all
After
season.
91 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. The game starts at 91 minutes. Everyone knows that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we rode our luck yesterday. I think we could have played all night and we weren't scoring a goal. I couldn't see us winning the game, to be honest. No. Yedlin, for all his flaws, he did get in some great positions yesterday, but the lad needs to learn how to cross.
Lift the ball, please.
I agree with that. I think Yedlin athletically is a fantastic talent. Going forward, he can offer so much, but his crossing ability is awful.
I thought Matt Ritchie was poor mind.
Do you think so? I mean, I don't want to single a couple of players out, and I do want to stress that later on we'll be talking about Jordan, because he has had a lot of stick on Twitter last night about his performance. But we'll be talking about that in a bit. But I don't want to. I know Richie played bad, but Yedlin was a great focal point for us in that game yesterday, and I think he had enough about him to make a difference yesterday with the crossing and things like that. But if his crossing just wasn't on point by one cross. And to be fair, Joelinton or Almiron should have scored the chance. Fair play by Crowlow. But going into the second half, Alan Saint-Maximin had a really good start to the second half. He was getting in behind the defender, always in a one-on-one situation with their fullback, and he was really hard to handle for them. So he did well, but the first one was Grant Hanley nearly scored an own goal, which is very typical Grant Hanley, I might add. It wasn't going in. From where I was sitting, I could clearly see it wasn't going in. But
he never actually scored an own goal for us.
Yeah, but it's typical Grant Hanley. He scored about 27 for Blackburn, mate.
Mm-hmm.
But about 5 minutes after the Grant Hanley chance, he cuts inside again. Maximin goes across, and Tim Krul makes a decent save. But other than that, lads, there's just nothing that comes to mind in terms of chances. I mean, I'm going to talk a bit more in depth about the chances that Norwich had towards the end, and the subs that obviously came on for us. But in terms of chances, it was just dead.
Bruce was worried. That's why he'd done the subs early.
No, I was worried as
Very
well.
rare Bruce will make a change before the hour mark. He made double change. He realised Yedlin was in some brilliant positions, as Sam touched upon. We were like, oh, blimmin' hell, he's in some fantastic positions.
Which takes us quite nicely on to Valentino Lazaro, coming on just after 55 minutes, I think. And for the first 10 minutes, lads, I'll open it out of the table. Very good, very effective on the ball. He ran that right wing back position quite well, don't you think? I'd say so.
I'd have liked to have seen him start, to be fair. He's had a full week's training, and obviously hindsight's a brilliant thing with Yedlin not playing his best. But yeah, that was the one disappointment from the 11 yesterday. I'd have liked to see him.
He's got a fantastic first touch. Brilliant couple of passes to Almiron, because there was one thing yesterday which I don't actually have in my notes, but I've remembered. Dirty Norwich. The amount of times Almiron found a little bit of space and he got hacked down. Unreal. Martin Atkinson had a howler yesterday, but I didn't want to really talk much into that because I don't think it changed the result in any way, shape or form. But I thought he came on and did well, and I'd like to see him start on Tuesday for sure, because I think he can play a part and be a difference.
I don't think he can play.
Yeah, Sam's looked into it. Yeah.
Lazaro and Rose can't play because they weren't eligible in time for the first game against Oxford.
I mean, that's a good lot.
So you'll like to see him at Arsenal.
Well, on the subject of Lazaro, though, he's the first ever Austrian to play for Newcastle.
He is.
So a little bit of a stat there.
I had that in my notes. He's been reading off my phone, this lad.
No, I can't. No, my right eye is my worst eye, by far away.
So is your left.
No, my left eye is a lot better. Like pretty much, if I take my glasses off, I pretty much can only see out of my left eye. So like that at the angle that his phone is, there is no way I could possibly.
I mean, it says in the title, live takeover latest Norwich ball draw. Rob,
Kyle, if Rob says a pun, you can whack him. He won't say coming.
Noted, fairly noted. But not long after Lazaro came on, Norwich had another chance, and this was probably their best chance of the game. Lascelles was messing about with the ball in his own half, plays it and Pookie 1-2s it, has a great chance, fantastic save by Dubravka. It hits Kieran Clark and nearly goes into his own net. He clears it out, and the lad who gets the ball on the edge of the box puts it wide. Another fantastic chance. I actually thought it was 1-0 after that movement from Norwich, because they punished were for making a mistake at the back. But they were piling on the pressure, and as the game wore on, I thought to myself, this is not looking good, and a point would be lucky to take one at this point. That wasn't intended. But 10 minutes before the end, Danny Rose comes on. Danny Rose, he loves fish and chips. That made my day, that one. But I came on and he got a fantastic reception from the crowd. And I'll come to you. What did you think of the reception he got and things like that? Because he is former Sunderland player. There is a chance that he might have got booed out.
Yeah, we've seen that daft post on social media. It doesn't bother me. Don't care. No. I think one thing I noticed, the reception was good. One thing I noticed, he passes the ball forward. Simple. He goes forward with his passes.
I mean, it's quite something when you notice a player passing the ball.
It's a simple tactic, but at least he's not going sideways. He goes forward. And I've noticed 2 nice little neat low passes, and that's probably a good sign. Yeah, the one into Richie. That's probably a good sign to have, just someone who passes the ball forward. Because blimmin' hell, it gets 10 yards forward instead of going, ooh, let's go sideways again.
It's another shame he can't play on Tuesday. I don't know why, because he wasn't on the bench for Tottenham. Or
maybe a registration thing.
It's very stupid, like, in my opinion. But Danny Rose spoke about the goosebumps that he got coming on, and he was in hysterics over the chant that got headed his way. Like, so I'm actually really happy about that. That he's had a good start at the club, and hopefully he can kick on. It's only a $2 million loan deal, though, isn't it? No option to buy at the end of the season. So I hope he impresses enough to be bought in the summer. But then again, that's a question I was going to touch on later, because Willems is injured and he'll obviously come back of who we'll go for. But should I debate it out now or later on in the show? What do you reckon? We'll go for it now. Why not? Rosa Willems, Sam.
That is a tough one. Just about Willems, he had his surgery on Friday, so we'll wish him all the best with his on his road to recovery. I think long term going forward, taking everything into account, I would probably go for Willems.
Yeah, he's been a really good player for us this season. I know Rose has the experience, but we'll see what it's like. You see what he does in Newcastle.
Rose is a proper left wing back, and now with him there, Richie can go a bit further forward because he can cross.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's few and far between at the club at the minute, crossing ability. So, after Danny Rose comes on, it kind of just fizzles into a 0-0 draw. No real opportunities either side of the field. But this is what I wanted to touch into, because we didn't speak much about the game, but this wing-back system, man. For me, again, as I say in my quick thoughts yesterday, as Rob touched on before, against the bigger sides, against teams that are better than us, in quotation marks, I think is a very effective system, because we can catch them on the break, we can press the midfielders high, look to get the ball and counter-attack with Maximin and Almiron. Against those teams, very effective. But when Norwich are coming up, bottom of the league, they're looking to get any point they can to try and spot a revival in the Premier League, survival hopes. And for me, just this wing-back system doesn't work against them type of teams. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself in some of these quick thoughts videos that I make, because it's like Brighton happened, Oxford, and then yesterday Rochdale. It's like I'm repeating myself, because we're midfielders are so deep in their own half. They can't do enough to make something happen in the game. The defenders are the same, the wing backs are the same. I mean, corners is a major example. We don't have an outlet from a corner. Like, if someone wins a header, it's like, what's going to happen next? Half the time it's like we're playing for a point a lot against these sides, and I just don't think the wing back system can do that. And I think if Steve Bruce can change it to a point where we're playing attacking against these sides, I think you'll get a lot more respect from the fan base. I really do, because it's one hurt. Because I know he says he wanted to revert back to Rafa's style of play after the Leicester hammering at the King Power a couple of months ago, but I think he needs to have his own little take on this team against them type of teams. Because Rafa, to be fair to him, and it's not just Steve Bruce, he's not just the problem here. Rafa played very defensive against these sides as well. So I think Steve Bruce, if he wants to be seen in a different light or not compared to Rafa every week, he should try and go for it against these smaller sides, because we'll have a good chance. We'll have the attacking players. It's not like we're rubbish and we need to defend every single week. Got some good players there. Put Maximin in Almiron. I mean, Maximin out on the right and Almiron the number 10. You've got Lazaro at left attacking midfield. That's very pacey and very effective against teams. You know what I mean? So I think it's worth thinking about for Bruce to try and change it up a little bit. I know he said in his press conference that he wants to change it up, but they're used to playing a certain way. But is it worth the risk, Rob, for you?
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. It's one of those, do you gamble, do you play it safe? And to be honest, I think now that we are safe, in inverted commas, we're not really part of that bottom six, if you like, that are in the nitty-gritty of the relegation battle. I think right now, for the next few games at least, we can afford to take that risk.
Yeah, absolutely. But a couple of fans have said, get to 40 points and then move the tactics around a little bit and try a few things different, because then safety's sorted, well, essentially on 40 points and anyway. But Leo, come to you. Do you think something needs to change against these lower league sides or not?
Yeah, you've got to have a plan B. You've got to be flexible. If you need to break down a team, even if you're like 20 minutes to go.
To be fair though, mate, Rafa never did this either.
True. Just you could put the blame on both of them, but I think with the lesser sides, it's because we're not getting many results against them. We're getting the look at what form against the bottom six. You're probably talking like Villa got beat off, West Ham were won, yes. Watford were drawn. Norwich have only picked up a point. Bournemouth
will beat them.
Brighton isn't great. We got beat off Burnley away, so we've got Palace coming up shortly as well. These are the teams that your bread and butter. You should be beating these mechanic breakdown teams. The simple fact is we're too deep, and if you look, and it was highlighted on Match of the Day, if you look at that front three, they've got 4 Premier League goals between them. That's an issue. Yes, Saint-Maximin fantastic when he wants to be, Almiron can be, but we're not putting the ball in the back of the net, and so is Joe Linton. Obviously, it's a difficult task. Rondon proved that he can do it. It's a hard job to do, and there's only a few select players that could probably do it in this team. Carroll, if he was fit, maybe, if he could do it on a regular basis, chipping the odd goal, but because we're so deep, where midfielders aren't getting in the box, Shelby's got 5, which is good, but who's the next man? Is Sean Longstaff getting 4 or 5 a season? Is Matty will...
Go a bit deep though, the midfielders ask of them, mate.
It's like, how we need a break and centre midfielder, and I know Bruce has tried to change it and made Almiron come into that a little bit when he was playing in through the middle, but you are expected to beat Rochdale, you are expected to beat Oxford, bottom the team Norwich out-bossed us, and that's a problem.
And they show a bit of control over these teams,
Mix it up, for example, next week, right, we're playing Arsenal. Arsenal know exactly what we're going to play at the Emirates. There's no shock to a system. They're going to sit back, play 5, and try and hit with ASM and at Miggy to get up the pitch. That's it. That's the tactic that we've got.
To be fair though, Arsenal...
We could get at Arsenal. I know they're coming back slowly, but we could get at Arsenal. That is up for grabs for a surprise win. They're not. You don't fear Arsenal. I don't.
Not anymore, anyway. No. But you spoke about Joelinton there, and that's the next point I've got. Do you think he's been used too much of a scapegoat? Because yesterday he did get a lot of stick, and the lads at Gallagher Shots brought this up in their instant reaction yesterday for the match. That Joelinton got far too much stick yesterday, and I think it's a topic worth bringing up. Was he at fault yesterday? Is he getting blamed too much, maybe?
He had one chance and it was saved.
He didn't do much
wrong.
But
it was a damn good header though. Very good save.
Heads it back across the goal, and it's an excellent save from Krul.
And at times I thought he picked up the ball midway and he had a radius of about 20 yards.
Who was the last man breaking? When Dubravka saved it. It was towards the end of the game. It was
when Pookie was pretty much throwing goal.
It was Joe Linton breaking his back to get back.
Yeah, which I thought he did his jobs yesterday.
He's shown a lot more aggression. I said this to you, Sam. Did on next games in the last 6 or 7 weeks. He's shown a lot more aggression.
Yeah, he's doing a bit more. He's getting there gradually in terms of.
He's twisting a lot. He's moaning a lot. I like that because it's the winning to competitive edge. But the only downside you can see, everyone who's watching. Apologise if you're listening on Nova Radio, but everyone's watching. He's just about to have a shot. That's the only negative from his forward play because he should have played in. Was it Miggy on the right?
Yeah, it was.
He should have played him in. He shouldn't have shot. But apart from that, he didn't. You're feeding him scraps.
Well, if I remember correctly, someone at Hibs after the game said, like a striker, that's really selfish, you know.
I think he's got to be selfish though.
I mean, so you kind of say on one hand he should have passed, and then I like a selfish striker. So
no, because his man's free. You've got to square that and play him in. Surely, yeah. I like my selfish strikers. He's not selfish enough for me. It was highlighted again on Match of the Day that there was a throw in and he's hanging around on the edge of the box. He's not breaking the duck to get in. That's the issue. Alan Shearer, our record goal scorer, Demba Ba, Papa Cisse would not be hanging out on that wing. They'll be getting in, feeding off a rebound, a ricochet, a looped header, a save, whatever. It's instinct. He doesn't have that, and I know it's difficult for him. He wasn't at fault. The reason why we didn't score, there wasn't enough created for me all around, and we far too deep in.
And he's a bit too deep as well.
We were the second best team
yesterday.
We were the second best team.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was one point I wanted to make up. But for me, I wanted to end this part of the show on a positive note, because I know we've spoken a lot negative about the formation and his Jordan being blamed for too much and the match itself. But Tim Krul obviously returned to Newcastle for the first time and played against us for the first time. I know he's came up a couple of times with Brighton away and being on the bench. But for me, this made my day. Because he came to the Gallagher in the second half. And he got a nice applause and things like that. And at the end of the game, he went around the stadium and got quite the reception. So just to pay a little bit of a tribute to Tim Krul, because I know we've got Dubravka now and everything like that, but before Dubravka was Tim Krul that the fans really loved on Tyneside. I remember him coming through against Palermo in the Europa League, in what is now the Europa League.
2nd of November 2006.
Exactly, the exact date. Nearly 14 years ago, but we're just gone 13 because remember
James Milner setting about but Luca.
Yeah, I remember it well. But for him to come through and then have a couple of loans out at, I think he went to Birmingham and he went to Scotland at some point, and then he really grew at Newcastle and made that number one his own from Steve Harbour, and he was a fantastic shot stopper, and I think if it weren't for major injuries, he would still be number one right now.
Can we just pause, because there's a few comments. It's not the only one. People are missing Rob's puns, and that's a joke. How are man, our lads? I mean, people are demanding a Rob pun. Rob, you're allowed one pun per show. Do you want to use that opportunity now?
Can I think of it during the break?
Yeah, you can have one pun.
Yeah, I'm talking about Keesu Young there, so you can use some for that.
Yeah.
But until then, you can wait.
Nah, those are dried up.
Hey, man. I can't believe there's people actually interested in this. Like, honestly, like proper. It's going to give them incentive to do more. So why would? No comment.
Well, our Paul has said in the comments, Statman Rob nailing it. So it's good to see that other people aren't crucifying me for the puns.
I prefer to start with a pun.
That's my pun, by the way.
Right, that's the one. That's the finish. And I'm going to end part 2 of the show on Rob's fantastic humour. But in part 3, we'll be talking about the January transfer roundup, or loan roundup, as it were. But speak to you in a couple of minutes, everyone. White Show here on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM, as well as on all the streams through Newcastle Fans TV as well. But if you want to interact with us through our WhatsApp, you can message in on, and the number is on screen as well, 074 764 97166. But before going to the next part of the show, which is the transfer breakdown, I'll go through the WhatsApp questions that have been set in the second part of the show. And we've been sent in one, no name again, but play 4 at the back against Oxford and have Fernandez right back. He's surprisingly good, got a class cross. I mean, right back's preferable. I wouldn't have him on the right wing though. So
definitely not the right wing.
I know a couple
not.
of people have said in the past. Well, I say a couple. One person has said, Fernandez at right back. You know who you are, lad. I mean, do have a lot of respect for you, but Fernandez at right back. Nah, lad. Sorry, mate. But at right back, maybe if it is a filler. But I think Emil Croft or something will come in instead because obviously he is a right back by trade. But he's also stated Bentaleb and Shelby in midfield after he is back. 2 players who look to go forward, which, if we are going to change the way we play, I suppose, lads, it's definitely a case where we've got to play players that look forward at least. I mean, you spoke about before, mate, with Danny Rose. So, I think that's one. The other question that came in, I think Adam Armstrong should come back to the club. He's way better than Joe Linton. I mean, no name again, but... would you take Adam Armstrong back? Well,
ahead of Joe Linton? No, not at all. I think Adam Armstrong. I was dead against him getting sold back in those days. But to be honest, Joe Linton, he's been improving. He's got more assists than most in the team this season. I know I'm in a minority to say this, but I'm
careful, Rob. What you say then?
I am more than happy to persevere with Joe Linton. Because I do believe he will come good. I might be wrong. I do believe he'll come good. Yes, he's taking a lot more time to do that than most players, than is sort of expected. But I have seen him do it. I saw him do it at Hoffenheim on a regular basis.
On the wing.
Yeah, and sometimes up front as an impact sub. Honestly, he can do it. Just be a bit more patient with him. Because we want him to sort of, once he gets firing, we don't want him to sort of start saying, right, I want to move because you were nasty to me.
I mean, do you think he'll do that? Do you think he's that petty? Or?
I think he will concentrate on his football more than anything.
Because, like, the Newcastle fans have been on his back a little bit.
The thing is, we saw it with Perez.
Yeah, but...
Whenever Perez went through a dodgy run of form and fans getting on his back and all of a sudden that fingers in the ears celebration came about, that's how it came about. And then... the following summer, he then leaves.
Well, on WhatsApp, it's been followed up by, back in 2015, Mike actually said he would sell the club if he finished in the top 4 or won a trophy. I mean, you don't want to just Takeover's over and done with for another week on the Black White Show. We'll not mention it. But that's the WhatsApp questions. If you want to message him, we've got a Q&A later on in the show. So if you want to message in, you can do as well. But part 3, we're talking about the ins and outs of the January transfer window at Newcastle United. And I want to start with the outs because it was actually quite surprising news to me in any way that Kei-Soo Young was actually released from his contract a couple of months before it was due to expire. I thought with like injuries that we've had in the midfield this season, they would have retained him. But obviously Bentaleb coming into the club has spelt an end for Kei-Soo Young. So Sam, I'll come to you first. Were you shocked by this news?
No, makes sense. He wasn't getting any game time, and when he was earlier in the season, he did not look too clever. With Bentaleb coming in, the emergence of Matty Longstaff this season, Key wasn't getting in the matchday squad anytime soon, so he was released. So it relieved the pressure to get rid of him on deadline day.
Well, Key's dad wanted his son to get the move early on in December. To move to a Celtic or somewhere where he would play more football.
Wages.
But wages was an issue, and now he's been released from his contract, so hopefully there is something there for him. Lloyd Andrew says in the chat, Key's time was up. I mean, Newcastle don't usually release players from the contract mid-season. There's usually a payoff and a compensation, and obviously Mike Ashley with money.
It probably has been paid off because of the mutual agreement, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But it's unlike Newcastle to do that. They usually wait till the end of the season when contracts expire and then just release them from the contract. So yeah, for me, it is the right decision. But I was very oh god, there's a pun in the chat that Rob's showed us, but I'll read it for God's sake. Aaron, he wasn't a key player. Fantastic, mate. Are you happy with yourself? Do you want a Blue Peter badge now?
Nice
do
one,
you
Aaron.
really? No, honestly, not. That's not having it. Like,
Wasn't so young either.
Holy man, pack it in, will you?
Well, Sam likes that one.
You're getting on this Q&A. Watch the questions you get. But yeah, as I say, I thought it was a surprise. But this season, he hasn't been very good. Very good player under Rafa. When he came in, he came good. I remember them couple of games when we were struggling early on last season, and he came in against Watford and Bournemouth in particular, and did very well and got up the field and solved a lot of problems for a couple of months, being in midfield alongside John Joe or Hayden. So he was a good servant to the club, but I suppose in the grand scheme of things, there's no shock that he's been let go. But I do wish him all the best because he left on good terms, and he said that he was. What are you laughing at, Lee?
There's another one that's come in. It says from Jason, Key had no Seoul. Where he's from?
Seoul, yeah. Capital of Korea.
I mean,
Don't know.
fantastic.
I'm loving this.
I'm not impressed because it's like Rob's got a little cult following of puns, and I thought like.
Well, we need a Facebook page now.
I've told them
Yeah.
the dead is dishwater, and people are giving them hope in the comments. So thanks everyone. But
Thanks, guys.
let's go on the ins. I'll keep going with the outs. Sorry, because Rolando Aaron's on deadline day is moved to Motherwell, which was quite a surprising one. It's not the most shocking one I've seen because he went to Slovakia for some reason. But yeah, he came back from Wickham, trained with us for a week or two, and then went to Motherwell on loan. Rob, I'll come to you on this one. What do you think of this loan move?
I think it's one of those. Motherwell was always going to be the type of calibre side that I think he was always going to end up. You know, they're more or less like a League One quality side. So I think this was certainly the move for him. But it does pain me to say I don't think he has a future at the club. He certainly showed a lot of promise, but I think injuries certainly hampered that progress over the years. So it's sadly, I just think all these loan moves are sort of rouses to just see out his contract really, because we're finding it difficult to move him on permanently.
Do you think? Well, there are loads of players over the years that have had loads of loan moves and then finally had a breakout. I remember Andros Townsend doing it at Tottenham to some extent.
Harry Kane.
And Harry Kane as well. So I'm not, by no means, I'm not comparing Rolando Aarons to these type of players because I know that's not the case. But I mean, going to Scotland worked for Sean Longstaff in the past. Making an argument, if I'm going to make an argument for Rolando Aarons, it worked for Longstaff in the past. It worked for. Remember when was sent as part of a deal to Rangers? Was sent like 20 of them up to Scotland. That worked for James Tavernier in the long run. So Scotland might be a good thing for him. Motherwell's a good club. He will be a key player there. So for me, it is a good move. But Lee, I know you've been a critic of Aaron's in the past couple of years, in particular. Do you see a future for him at Newcastle if he does well at Motherwell?
It's better than Atsu. Sorry, Johnny.
Yeah, he actually is as well.
He is better than Atsu. Me and Johnny were debating this on the live deadline day stream. I would have Aaron's over Atsu. At least Aaron's can whip a ball in better. I think I have to agree with Rob. I think his time's up now, unfortunately.
Do you know who I do agree with? Lloyd Andrew, who says, I'd rather Kyle up front than Joe Linton. You know what, lads? If you've seen the charity match with me, brilliant through ball. I'm more than capable of setting a goal up, and when we play Sunderland Fan TV again
you're quite similar to Joe Linton, 0 goals.
No, wait till March 27 when we'll play these Matt and Lot again.
No, I'll rephrase that. Joe Linton actually scored, to be fair.
Just you wait till we play these Matt and Lot again.
That's the same guy.
Hat-trick's coming, I'm telling you.
That's the same guy that commented saying, Rob, you know nothing. No spelt N-O. So, yeah. Yeah.
But,
Rob's the grammar police bloke in our chat that we have.
Yeah, but no and no, it's too very
You sound
simple.
like what do you call him, Vicky Pollard?
And Paul's commented, my grandma's better than Atsu. I mean, Paul does love that too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
but,
secretly loves.
I think Aaron's is better than Atsu as well. I have no idea why Atsu's been not sold.
He was
yet,
linked though, wasn't he?
He was linked. I was going to go on about that a bit later on after I talk about the people coming into the club. But if I'll go to the table, Sam, will come to you before I go to Rob. Do you see a future for Aaron's at all?
Unfortunately not. I was quite a big fan of Aaron's when he first broke through. I mean, deadline day sparked, late on deadline day, it did spark a debate on Twitter, the Atsu and Aaron's thing. Atsu obviously linked to Celtic, Blackburn, Olympiacos. So it was kind of one or the other was going to stay and one was going to go. I'm frustrated with Aaron's because I do want to see him have one last chance. But I just can't see it happening.
I mean, it is slim for him to get any big chance, but with Newcastle in particular. But if he does well at Motherwell and scores a couple of goals and gets Motherwell up the league, who knows? He might get a chance in pre-season next season. Because I know Bruce does think highly of him. He loaned him at Sheffield Wednesday, so anything's possible for the lad. But on to the inbound players at Newcastle in the January transfer window. And they were all loans. That's the one thing they had in common. But I'm going to move on to the first signing of the January transfer window, which is Bentaleb. He came in. He's played a couple of games since. What do you think of him so far, Rob?
He's been decent. I think 2 games. Haven't seen enough of him for me to sort of pass any sort of judgment. But as far as first impressions go, nothing bad, nothing concerning to report thus far.
Well, I actually do have something to report regarding him. I'm impressed with him, first of all. I think he's very calm, very composed, good in midfield. He's created 4 chances since he's came in. Actually, no, he's created 4 chances yesterday, more in a single game than anybody else over the course of the season. So
I'll be honest, the 2 games that he's played, whilst he's been playing, I've been at York City commentating there. So to be honest, all I've seen of him is him running around on Match of the Day.
yeah, well that's fair enough,
Yeah.
Rob. But we know you love York, really. As soon as there's a York fan TV, we know you're off, mate. So as soon as that comes up,
Hey, there's an idea, Rob. York Fan TV.
York fan TV. I mean, I'm not starting it anytime soon, man. I don't matter. I mean, it's a bit too far for me, but you know. But yeah, Bentaleb, great player for me. Sam, do you think he's worth breaking the 8.5 million release clause in the summer for him?
It's going to need to be signed off. It caught us all by surprise, this transfer, didn't it?
Whilst the blue, yeah.
Whilst we were that Lazaro had already been linked, he was expected to be the first one through the door. Then all of a sudden, there's a press conference, and oh, by the way, Bentaleb's in the building, and he's having a medical. Brilliant. He's looked okay the first couple of games. Bearing in mind, I think, well, he's barely played all season. He's not match fit.
Could have been rusty.
He does look a bit rusty, especially towards the end yesterday. So it's going to take him a bit of time. But 8.5 could be a great bit of business.
York Fan TV would have 3 subscribers. So Rob, if you want to get going, you've already got 3 subscribers waiting for you. So that's one for certainly. On to the next.
I'm more familiar with Yorkie bars.
Oh,
Well, 3 subscribers is more growth than some other people.
Yeah.
Is it? Who?
Just some other people.
Right, okay. I mean, I'll just move on. Lazaro was the next signing, brought in from Inter Milan, with an option to buy for 20 million if this lad's brought in. In terms of quality, we've only seen him realistically for a couple of, for half against Norwich yesterday, but does look an alright player. I have to see more from him to see if he's worthy of this 20 million, but some much needed depth in certain positions. Right back has been a question mark this season. So's the wing positions when ASM's picked up injuries. So Lee, I'll come to you. What do you think of Lazaro as a signing?
If he knocks Christian Atsu further and further down the pecking order, I'm all for it.
Is there not a like for Christian Atsu? What's the matter with Christian Atsu?
What's right with him?
Oh wow! I mean,
so let's get back to the positives with myself. I think he looked a little nervous because I think once he settles in, him and the difference with Bentaleb, he said Bentaleb's played 2 games, and I seen with Bentaleb he was already pointing the finger, telling people where to go. I like that. That impressed me. That shows leadership. Got a bit of a bite in him. He wants the ball and he tells you where to go. Whereas Lazaro, that might take a little while in because he hasn't played the extra game, but maybe another week, you know. It's too early to say what type of player he is, unless he watched Serie
If he
A.
can cross the ball, surely he's ahead of Yedlin.
I just hope he isn't signed just for a right wing back, because that would mean then we've got 4. I knocks Emil Kraft further down the pecking order. Happy days. But I like to see him a little bit further up the field. I don't want him playing with the shackles on him. I like him with
the rest of the team.
Yeah, ESM's allowed to go and do what he's want, whereas Almiron hasn't. Almiron's got to come back a little bit. And I just hope he's allowed the freedom to go and express himself, because 20 million's a lot to pay.
Absolutely.
You know what you get with Bentleb, a little bit more than what you do with him. So the proof is in the pudding for this one.
Absolutely. I think we'll talk about before he's not eligible for the FA Cup game, which is a damn shame. I would like to see him start on Tuesday against a side that he can really get into and try and cause problems for. Right, we'll move on to Danny Rose. I mean, we spoke about him earlier. I don't want to have the comparisons of Jack Rose we spoke about earlier on the show, but very good signing. I know all were fairly pleased on this one from back to forth, because he's a very experienced fullback. A couple of years ago was probably the main man on the team sheet for England, and he's came to Newcastle with the hope of getting to the Euros. So I really hope Rose can do the business forward. Rob, I'll come to you. Is there any drawbacks with Danny Rose? Because there's been speculation over his attitude and anything like that.
Well, I think first and foremost, of course, he has history with Sunderland. But what I will
so there's everyone at the club,
pretty much. But what I will judge him on first and foremost will be his performances in the Newcastle shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Before coming here, he's had experience and arguably proven himself at the highest of levels. Of course, Tottenham, they're a big club now. Didn't used to be, but yes, they are now. And also the Champions League, also internationally with England. He's one of those players who's been there, done that, and I think he's sort of at that age now, late 20s, where this is the best version of Danny Rose that the footballing world is going to see. So no obligation to buy. Of course, I think I really do applaud Bruce and the board on getting Rose in on the basis that, of course, Willem's getting injured halfway through January. Was it like the 18th of January?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And so with only about 12 days left, or give or take, to act in the transfer window to try and get a replacement left back to replace Willems. Hats off to them not panic buying. They went in and they got a good quality replacement.
Well, I was really happy with Rose on the basis of how keen he was to come to the club. Jericho Willem's got injured. He heard on the commentary we need a left-sided player. Calling the agent and we'll make it happen straight away. So he's instigated this move and he's wanting to come up here. I know he's a northern lad from Doncaster, I think it is. And he's been missing the chippies, as I said earlier on. But that's something I was going to leave for the Q&A. What's the best chippy in the North East? So we can point it straight
I've got my shout for that one.
Right, well, we'll leave it to that one then. We'll talk about chippies later on the Black and White show. But they're the ins and outs at Newcastle. If you were going to rate it out of 10, lads, what would you say your transfer window was, in and out?
Oh, I'd say it's a good 7. I'm really satisfied.
7?
Satisfied.
Even without a striker?
I think striker was one of those positions that, for me personally, like I said earlier, I'm in a minority view, but it wasn't. We don't need to urgently bring in another striker.
Lou, would you agree with that?
I'll give it a 7. Yeah,
it would have been a panic buying.
I think a 7. Considering we do have money, but just we have no one who doesn't like splashing it. The loans make sense. It's safe because if they fail, you're not stuck with someone with massive wages and a large transfer fee. So in one sense, those 3 can go and prove themselves. I'm very excited about Danny Rose because it gives Bruce a lot more options with Matt Ritchie as well.
You're singing his name.
Yeah, I think it's a hell of a signing. I think it's one of the best signings in the Premier League, established players since Shelvey and Townsend came.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about him. I think the downside to that, I would have scored a lot higher if we had got the striker over the line. Still got Henri Savey at the books. I don't know how he's still here.
It's like him and Colback are just one of those people that they're like uninvited guests that come into your house and you're just sort of waiting for them to leave, but they're not.
Are you talking from experience here, Rob?
So, yeah, talking from experience, I've got some people that sort of just come round when they like, and then you try and drop hints that you're absolutely knackered and that you really want them to leave.
So why don't you just go, I am tired, I'm going to bed, leave?
It's difficult.
It's too polite.
Far too polite, Rob.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I mean, no comment on that one either. But for me, I think we'll miss out on a striker. The chat do agree with you, Lee. In 7 or 8, I've seen a couple of 4 with no striker. One with a 6. It would have been a 9 if it was a striker. So a lot of people agree with me in that we needed a striker to take Joelinton out the firing line. I do get that people think he's going to come good eventually, and it's a big signing, yada yada yada. But I think to help him a little bit, we needed that striker. And Rondon got offered to Chelsea on deadline day, so that was an option. Rondon knows the team inside out, knows the way we'll play, everything like that. So that would have been a perfect signing. Giroud turned wood There was Omar Niasse from Everton. There was some signings that I know Niasse wouldn't have necessarily been first team, but it would have been better than having Niasse on the bench than no striker at all. So for me, at least someone coming in with a bit of Premier League experience to lead the line if Joelinton picks up a knock or something, because Carroll's constantly out and Gale's constantly out, so we can't rely on them every week. So for me, a striker was needed, but if I suppose we've got enough to stay in the league, which is the minimum requirement, and hopefully push for the top 10. But that ends part 3 of the Black and White Show. Speaking about the transfers and everything like that. Let us know what you think in the WhatsApp by letting us know. You can message in, not text. I've had that on the tip of my tongue again, Lee. 0747 649 7166. We've got Q&A in the next part of the show, so stay tuned for that, everyone. It should be a good one. Send in your football-related and non-football-related questions in the chat that we've got, or you can send it in by WhatsApp. Just let one know and send your questions in, and speak to you in a couple of minutes. It's not Rob. You've changed a little bit if it is Rob, but no, it's Sam. They've swapped seats to do a little bit of testing with learning certain things. Rob's going to learn how to use the stream.
Thank you.
And Sam's going to look obliviously at the controls.
I can control the world from here.
Right, you can. You've got the power in your hands, mate. I'm not going on a take me out kind of thing, but yeah. Lee, what you're doing for this last part?
I'm showing Rob.
Yeah,
so carry on.
So carry on indeed. But yeah, in this last part, it's going to be a Q&A, which is quite interesting. If you just want to send it in, questions of a football nature or not. I seen a Super Bowl comment on we're on the break. So anything. If you want to ask Lee how many hats he owns, if you want to ask Sam, does he sound like Alan Smith?
No.
Rob, how many puns does he have? Whatever you just want to ask. If it's football related or not, you can message it in on WhatsApp 0747 6497 166, and also use our live chat as well to send more questions in. But I've got a couple of questions that I put on the socials from the other day, and this is what people sent in from them. So I'm going to go through them first and foremost. Danny Cooper from the Facebook page. You're right, mate. He sent a question in. Go for at the back and put Fabian Schär into midfield. Lee, I'll come to you first, mate. What do you think on that one?
Look, he's played there for his country, hasn't he? He's all right. We'll change the system around at Everton. We'll look a little bit more solid. I know you might say it's fluky that we got 2 injury time goals, but it is an optional as a last resort. It's been used by Rafa. It's been used by Bruce. He's comfortable on the ball. He's probably the most comfortable defender. Centre backs. Kieran Clark's obviously played there for Villa in the past as well, but you'd probably pick Fabian Schär. Is it the long-term answer? I don't think so. But if there's an injury crisis, I don't think you need to worry too much.
Fair enough. For me, I think Schär could play in midfield one day, maybe defensive midfield in a 4-3-3. I'd love to see that, because obviously he can do the defensive duty very well. He can play the ball forward. But Sam, will come to you. What do you think? What kind of formation or system would we have to play to accommodate playing Schär in midfield and playing forward back at the same time?
I've been crying out for 4-2-3-1 for quite a while now. Since Christmas time, when Bruce started experimenting with 3-5-2, which we got away with against Palace, but other than that, it's just looked a bit of a mess, to be honest. I think if you did want to switch to 4 at the back, I mean, the time for that was probably from Rochdale and Oxford and games like yesterday.
Yeah.
That was probably the time. The thing is, if you're going to switch to a 4 at the back, like I said in my latest article on Newcastle Fans TV.
I was going to plug that, mate. I was.
I make the case for 4-2-3-1. If you're going to have a centre-back pairing of 2, then I think it would have to be Lascelles and Lejeune because they're your strongest.
Yeah, Lascelles would have to be in that for me.
Out-and-out defensive duo. Schär obviously likes to gallivant forward.
Yeah.
The only... Well, having said that, with Lejeune's injury record, then that still would leave chances for your Schärs and Fernandes to still get in the team.
Uh-huh.
We're lucky that we've got an abundance of decent centre midfielders now. Obviously, the Longstaffs, Hayden, John Joe, Benteler. There's not really room for Schär to play in defensive mid. It's another option, but
it is. It's a bit like Mbemba a couple of years ago. People were saying he could play defensive midfield for DR Congo, his national side, and why couldn't he play that for Newcastle? But I think it was just too much in front of him at the time. So for me, I would want to play 4 at the back. But that being said, I think Schär is a better centre back than out else. But on to the next question that we'll have. Jack Chater from Facebook again. He is in our live chat as well. So yeah, alright, mate. Line up for Tuesday, lads. So Lee, I'll come to you first. Actually, no, Rob, I'll come to you first. You've been quiet for a couple of minutes. So what would you go for Tuesday? Would you go for full strength? Would you play a couple of the young ones? What would you like to see?
I would like to see a good quality side, one of our best, but also giving the likes of maybe Elias Sorensen a chance. I think it's one of those matches where it's good to see them step up and give them that first team exposure. Not like a full team of youngsters, but I'm talking like a good mix of about 8 first team, 3 youngsters in there, because you want them to learn from the best players in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, yeah, Oxford, at the same time, we need to give them respect. We know what they're capable of now. And like we say, we pretty much got objective number one of safety in the Premier League almost sorted there.
3 wins needed.
It's in our hands on that front. So I think a cup run. Not saying, like I say every week, I don't think we're going to win the FA Cup, but just to have that hope. And hey, if we beat Oxford on Tuesday, that's West Brom away, a very winnable game in the 5th round. So who knows what can happen.
I haven't been to the Hawthorns. I'd like to go.
It's the highest ground in English football.
Yeah,
it is. That's right.
Yeah, you in it, Sam?
It is. I know. That's why I really want us to beat Oxford, because I've never been to the Hawthorns either, and it's literally about 40 minutes.
I was going to say it's not far from your neck of the woods, is it? But no, personally, Jack, I'd like to see us play a very strong side. I think, to be honest, we're going to need to. The way Oxford came to St James's Park and played the other week. So yeah, I'd like to see us very strong side. Matty Longstaff in the team though, because I think he deserves a bit more minutes. When he's been called upon, he's done very well. So I'd like to see him play. If Dwight Gale's fit, maybe start Gale or Carroll if they're both fit over Joelinton.
I don't think Carroll will be fit. He didn't even make the bench yesterday.
True, we had a strikerless bench again yesterday. But full strength squad if possible. Maybe play Matty if you're not going full strength. Maybe Tom Allen deserves a shout as well, because I'll give him a shout over that too at the minute. Stephen Thompson, who has put Joelinton into midfield and play Miggy up top. Now, this was an interesting one I got sent on Facebook, but Rob, I'll come to you first. Would you put Joelinton into the midfield and play Almiron up top?
No, I think that's too risky. That's pretty much unheard of to see Almiron as a sole striker. No, I'm just plain not comfortable with that.
Fair enough. Lee, would you?
No chance.
No. I think I see his point, because Miggy's got a good work rate and up front and everything like that, but I just don't think he'd have the wherewithal to be a striker, in my personal opinion. And obviously we've had that problem with Joelinton as it is, being a striker. The right wing turned into striker, so I wouldn't want that again. So for me, I would pass on playing that, but I get the sentiment, mate. Another question, actually my dad sent this in. Why is Atsu, what seems one day forced out of the club on January deadline day, and then the next day he's on the bench? Interesting question. Sam, will come to you first. Do you think Atsu was forced out of the club on deadline day and then play on the bench? Is it a bit strange?
I think it was between him and Aaron's. Once Atsu had made it clear he wanted to stay and fight for his place, then the move to Motherwell for Aaron's was there. He was on the bench yesterday because we needed attacking players on the bench. So I know he didn't come on, but that was more down to the fact that Yedlin was poor, Hayden wasn't his usual solid self. So, to play devil's advocate, Atsu's not the worst player we've ever had. I mean, he's no Siem de Jong or something like that. He was decent for us in the Championship, but the problem is we've still got a massive core of the squad that we're still in the Championship, and we haven't evolved, we haven't progressed. So that's something that needs to happen over the next 12, 18 months. Yeah,
I completely agree with that myself. I think this summer, if we can get rid of him, Atsu, because I know...
We'll not get much for him, will we?
No.
5 million.
But,
I wouldn't have made the deal permanent after we got up from the Championship, to be honest.
Nah, I wouldn't have either. I know he had a good end of the season, but there was a lot of that season where left to be desired was probably something I'd mention. I know Paul's in the chat, I don't even need to look. Atsu was not decent in the Championship, that's a myth. But I'd look to move him on in the summer, for sure. Question in the comments, are you grown men? I mean, a little bit of stubble there, Lee's got a full grown beard. Rob's got a shave. I think I'd say so. I'd say we're fully grown men. 23, I am. How old are you, Sam?
Sounds like a podcast going on. Fully grown men, there you go.
We're all grown men, so weird question, but you know.
It might be someone for the live chat.
It is someone from the live chat. Absolutely.
For the live chat, someone else in the live chat.
Ah, right, okay. But the next one, and it's from Twitter, Anselmo. If I've got your name wrong, very sorry. But during ASM's time off while injured, Almiron proved that he is so much more productive playing on the left than on the right side of the pitch. Is ASM on the pitch from the start with shifting Almiron over to the right? Could ASM be more impactful on the bench as a second half ace? For me, I think he's got the first half of this question bang on, but I wouldn't drop Alan Saint-Maximin. I think he can play on the other side really well, because Maximin's quite proficient on both sides. I just think I think Almiron, in a certain position when Maximin was out, has I thought he did all right. He scored. What's he scored? I think it's 4 or 5 goals.
4 in total, 2 in the Premier League, 2 in the FA
Four in
Cup.
his last 10 or something like that. So he is a good player, but I wouldn't drop Maximin. Although I do get the point in that off the bench, Maximin would be very hard to handle for a tired fullback. 10 minutes to go, you bring ASM on, and it'd be very difficult for them to deal with. But ASM, I think has been brought in for the first team from the start, and I think ASM needs to play games. Although it does come to an effective Almiron, I would like to see Maximin switch sides and obviously to get the best out of Miggy Almiron as well. The next one, I thought I'd add this question in. I spoke about it very briefly earlier, but for Danny Rose, the best chippy in the North East, what we're going with, boys. I'm going to start. I've been told on Facebook yesterday there's a place in Seaton Sluice that I need to go and try, so I'm going to go and try that one. But mine currently, as of now, is the waterfront at the bottom of North Shields where the key is.
Would that be an NE29, would it?
Absolutely fantastic place to go. But Lee, what is yours, mate?
People who go to the Metro Centre will probably know this when the drive passes Maguire's. It's at the bottom of Swalwell next to the bank. Brilliant chips in there. Obviously, because of my eating habits, I don't have any. It's not a big surprise. Well, it will be to some people that I don't eat meat. But the chips there are perfect, man. Greasy, fat, good, loads of potato, loads of salt and vinegar. Kind of gone wrong with there. So I'm going to put my neck on the line and say Maguire's and Swalwell are top notch. Like,
Rob, you got one? If it's in Darlington, fair enough.
There was a decent one in Darlington, but I think that recently changed management, and I went there recently, and they're not as good as they used to be. However, the best chippy I've ever been to was one in Rothwell, near Leeds. It's a small village near Leeds. It used to be this sort of cinema in the 1950s, and what they did is that they changed it into a chippy where you can eat in or take out, and they sort of kept all the decor from when it was a cinema or a theatre in the 1950s. So it was really nice and
that's
retro.
a shout. That's a shout in the comments, mind.
And the food, the food that they did was just unbelievable.
What is that? Pause you on about, Lee?
I've been the Tynemouth one on the seafront. That's not bad.
Yeah, there's some lovely ones in Tynemouth Marshalls, I think it is. So Danny Rose, mate, if you're watching, there's a couple of really good chippies in the North East. We know London is one of them. London is one of them where there's only one good chippy. You
probably have to pay £7 for a bag of chips in London.
About £27 and your lung for a bag of chips with probably about a burger or something. So yeah, for sure. Time out for fish and chips. I've just seen a comment from John Bruce. Fantastic. Yeah, I've got a great time out for. Nothing beats the waterfront. I've got an NE29 lad in the chat. Fantastic. But that's on to the next question. Just looking for my notes. Paul sent us a couple of questions in a couple of hours ago. Lee, I think these are pointed towards you. Why do you run NFTV?
I've answered that quite a while, so I think it's why are we all here sitting here volunteering? I think you'll all probably say a very similar answers that we'll love to express our opinions on Newcastle, and I think we've all got a passion first and foremost for the club, and a lot of other people who do online stuff, so you can mention podcasts, video, audio, maybe just run a page on Facebook. There's loads of people who like to express their opinions, and there's a lot of people that will probably find a common goal with us, whether they like it or not. And we've tried to branch out and try to be the best that we can be by passionately and producing content that other fans do enjoy and relate to it. And I think also more importantly, not just local fans, is that international fans now. There's 26% of our audience are from abroad, and they rely heavily on our news from the socials and video.
There's a couple of comments coming in. Magpie, Chippy and Meadowell, are you sure? I mean, that's with gritted teeth.
You're brave. You gotta be brave.
I've sent a couple of complaints to that one. Coleman's in South Shields. Fantastic chippy. I used to go on a course a couple of years ago in South Shields, and that was
is Coleman's not like is that a sauce?
No.
Coleman's mustard, but
yeah, I thought it was a sauce.
It's a mustard, but the
from
chippy,
Norwich.
it's fantastic. Brilliant chippy. Next question: what's next for NFTV? Lee.
Why don't you answer that? You tell me. What would you like?
What's next?
Yeah, you tell me.
Oxford on Tuesday.
That's what I was going to answer with as well.
What would you like to see develop?
Podcasts.
Podcasts. Why?
Because I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Good show.
I don't actually.
I do listen to a few podcasts. I like to venture into that. But then again, we did do podcasts on the monthly, and then the show came in, so we just started doing the show instead. But let me know in the comments if you're watching this afterwards. Would you prefer to see the comments back or anything like that? Let me know, because we'll do this for the fantastic fan base that is Newcastle United. So whatever you want, let me know. But next question: do you ever see yourself covering more any sports and not just football? Example: Falcons, basketball, hockey teams. Rob, I'll come to you.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a story to this. I've also been told about a chance to interact with Falcons games and also basketball games. Of course, the Newcastle basketball team are really successful, highly successful, but that sort of fell through slightly. And I think.
I think in
terms of other sports, I love my cricket and I love my rugby league.
I think in terms of like, I presume the question is more aimed at would we produce,
or would we be part of a different sport?
See, I'm
can't see
football
that
driven, like mad football driven. I watch football. I'll go home and watch 2, 3, 4 hours of it. I have to force the Ben to watch it, the other half to watch it. It's just the way it is, you know.
I guess the point would be that we
would we put any other content on?
Nah,
maybe.
I
would
like that,
the only thing is, shout out to Paul, who does a great job with the Newcastle women's team.
Yeah, it's
that's still in the Newcastle United franchise.
But outside the Newcastle,
we do the under 23s. Obviously, we run a second channel, of course. Kyle has disappeared. He's run after the Lou shock. He'll probably be late get back. I won't be surprised either. But in terms of like doing something like maybe we do a vlog, it's probably very unlikely that we'll do anything except from football. Maybe if the Euros come round, obviously we do stuff like the Euros, England, but our channel is heavily focused on football, and I think if we started doing other stuff like FIFA videos, for example, I don't think our channel would do as well, because our audience is 24, predominantly 24 and upwards to 35, 36. If we started doing FIFA videos, we'll probably see a lot of decline in interaction. That's why we'll love what we do is interaction, but I think Newcastle Fans TV will always be football. However, we have toyed with the idea is doing documentaries on each single person and getting to know them a little bit better. We might revisit that, but in the minute I can only say football.
So if you did a documentary on me, who's just came back, by the way, just for dragging that out one day.
It's all right. We've already told them that you went the loo.
Yeah. I ran there and back, but
and I hope you flushed.
I did, but
no, that was a pun. That was a pun.
Didn't wash your hands from the look of it.
I did. I was very, very quick, but where do you see the channel in 5 years' time?
Not to me again.
Yes. There are a lot point towards lately there.
In terms of growth, I think we have grown in terms of not just a video outlet. We've now got predominantly two, which is yourself and Paul. The odd time Rob will chip in one of these articles, Sam will jump on Facebook, and me. I've took a bit of a step back from that and help Sam's come in on Twitter. I think we've now got 3 sections where it's not just a video outlet, it's now a social media team, a Twitter team where it's now starting to branch out a lot more. We've obviously got the website as well we want to try and push, but I think in terms of 5 year, I think maybe getting a bigger radio station, who knows, that's no disrespect to where we are, we love what we do, but who knows, we're just doing it for the love of the game, and I think we're trying to clean up with image what we had a couple of years ago, which has vastly improved. A lot of people find us a lot more respectable. Yes, we might come across as cringy sometimes, but sometimes you've got to have that in your videos.
Rob's puns don't help out loads, doesn't it, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just Rob. I think having a bit of fun. We love what we do. We're serious what we talk about, but there's got to be some sort of element. And I think, in particular, I think the way vlogs bring out a lot of daftness, and I think we have that time to do it. But we'll have to see. Look, if someone asked me 5 years ago, would I be doing YouTube? No, I wouldn't have. So in 5 years' time, we might be off YouTube. There might be a new thing about.
I don't think we'll be off YouTube, mate. That's the
well, we'll never know.
That's the bread. That's the bread of the channel.
You know, I think in terms of in growth, I think if you could live on Newcastle Fans TV as a wage, that'd be awesome. But I think having our own office where everyone can go to is probably maybe a realistic term the next 2 to 3 years if the channel could self-fund it and doesn't have to rely on advertisement.
I mean, if people want to just give us money, that'd be fantastic. But I've never done this for money, mate. It's always been a fantastic hobby.
Question is, how much do I owe for the pun jar?
You owe far too much, mate. I lost count a long time ago, and it's getting so
You'll
bad now.
You'll bankrupt.
Your fans have got your fans have got a pun jar as well, and that's coming to quite a bit. So I've stopped counting. But Julia Thompson wrote in on Instagram actually. Why does Bruce bring back players too soon from injury, like Alan Saint-Maximin, for example? Why does he bring players back too soon?
Well, I think it's simply because Saint-Maximin is a key player. It's one of those where you want your key players playing, and especially if it's a really important game, you want them playing. And even if it means rushing them back at a slight chance that injuries might recur, it's one of those gambles that Bruce does appear happy to take, and that's his decision. Can't say I'm against it, because at the end of the day, you want the best chance of winning said game, and so I think there's a difference between rushing them back, and there's a difference between just sort of taking their time with it, and it is a gamble, but one that can pay off.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to go over to the WhatsApp questions now, because we've actually had 7 sent in. 7 for the Q&A. So thank you everyone for getting involved in that one. The first question is, no names being left, but with the emergence of the Longstaff brothers and Hayden playing the defensive midfield role, would you say we keep or sell Shelby in the summer? Do you think he'd get game time with Sean having 18 months of experience and Matty having a season of experience by then? Sam, I'll come to you first.
He's our top scorer. Can't get rid of the top scorer. You need a good squad of players, because that's the thing we're lacking, is depth of quality in the squad. It's similar to the previous question about why has Steve Bruce brought ASM back so quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's no one else.
Sure.
There's no competition for places. So now with Bentaleb, the Longstaffs, Hayden, Shelby, it's a good, solid crop of central midfielders that provides real competition for places. Yeah,
for sure. I would keep ahead of Shelby. He's very happy and settled here with his family. On his day, can obviously really sort teams out with his passing ability and things like that. And I actually think he's had his best season since the championships for Newcastle. So for me, very very happy with Shelby, and be happy he stayed on. What you doing this?
I just sort of a question is, if we were going to play Alan Saint-Maximin, who's not fully fit, where there isn't Alan Saint-Maximin, there is, now Paul, keep your hair on, there is Christianazzi.
Yeah, let's move on to the next question.
Yeah, let's move on.
That's exactly why ASM was brought back.
Hey, there's a Lazaro now, who knows?
But no name left again, but question sent in. Despite actually being pretty miserably, he's put, spelt wrong, miserably as owner, who has morally ambiguous business practices? Who would you rather prefer as an owner who's a Saudi Arabian mega wealthy figure using football in the Western markets to skew perspective of a terrible Middle Eastern human rights record? So I think he's seen the charity post that was put out on Twitter last Tuesday, I think it was, by Amnesty. I think it was on Twitter.
Yeah. International. Yeah.
Is this a major problem? Because for me, I answered this when it came out on Twitter, that if there was such a big problem from the Western world to do things there, for me, Anthony Joshua wouldn't afford there, WWE wouldn't do major events 3 times a year there. So for me, I think Saudi Arabia's not much of a problem. They're looking to improve the human rights thing. Women, 2 WWE wrestlers had a women's match there not so long ago. Women are driving now. Like, things are being put into perspective for the Saudi Arabians, and I think that they're looking to sort that out. So for me, I think it should be okay in that department. Do you think so?
It's always a thorny one, so I tend to stick with the football and steer clear of politics. Yeah,
I tried it as well. Politics is a no-go. I mean, if you asked us to talk about Brexit, I'll be able to put what I know about Brexit on the back of a postage stamp. That's how much I know about Brexit. But he's just put thank you for responding to his message. No problem, mate, at all. I'm just looking for the next question, which is, do you think the whole team is carrying Joel and other players seem scared to pass to him? That's an interesting observation. Rob, do you think people are scared to pass to Joel?
No, I can't say. I think with Joe Linton, I think we saw it a lot last week against Oxford when Saint-Maximin, he didn't have the best of games when Saint-Maximin had the chance to play Joe Linton through, and he just kept on putting it off, and ended up doing it way too late. And Joe Linton was there. He was having a big go at him because he's showing that he knows what he wants. He knows when he wants that ball. So I think it's a case of confidence, really. When you pass to a player in your team, you're going to want that player to be confident. But I think there's little concern of that nowadays with Joe Linton growing in confidence. And I liked that, having a go at Saint-Maximin last week. He's saying that he knows what he wants, he knows where he wants it, and that's a good starting point for a striker.
I would completely agree with that, to be fair, Rob. The next question coming in. Hi lads, great show. Do you think if there is no takeover with Mohammed bin Salman, will there be a massive boycott? That's the first of two questions he sent, but we'll fire this one off first. Sam, do you think there'll be a boycott of any sort if this falls through?
No.
No? Okay. Lee? Do you think there'll be a boycott of any?
No, and I won't be involved in any.
Okay, fair enough. Statement.
I think everyone's known my stance on what we went through at Arsenal. I won't be going through that as a channel and as a fan again.
Okay. My take on it would be I think the groups like Magpie Group and Tune for Change, I think they would try and do something of a boycott, but again, I just don't. I think after Arsenal last year, I think a boycott of any form just won't be taken seriously because it had the hype to really work, and
it's impossible to get everyone on board if you do that.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of groups signed a massive document together in a statement from Tune for Change, and there's about 19 groups, and that's already a problem as it is because there's 19 groups uniting as one. It should just be one group to get Mike Ashley out, and that's what it should be, in my opinion. And anyway, but that's the WhatsApp questions over and done with. Let's go to the chat. Joe Linton, 40 million. Are you serious? Have you ever watched Jimmy Greaves or Trevor Francis? I mean, for me, Jimmy Greaves and Trevor Francis, Teddies weren't really around when they were playing, so, Lee, you might be able to remember them.
No, that was before mine. Kyle can't remember Bobby Robson. That's how young Kyle is. No, I've seen obviously documentary of Forest, obviously because I've seen that on Sky when Trevor Francis was the first £1 million striker. Obviously, he's a Brummie lad, not far from you, Sam. He's not a Brummie.
Don't insult the lad.
Jimmy Greaves had a fantastic record. Obviously, he was injured in the World Cup. That's how Jeff Hurst got his run from the quarterfinals to the final. Jimmy Greaves has one of the best goal-scoring records out there. If you put that up against any Premier League striker, it's fantastic. But Trevor Francis, I've actually seen Trevor Francis play, believe it or not. Not because I'm 50 or 60. You remember the match when it used to come to St James's Park, the charity game when Robbie Williams and his best mate and Gaza was playing and all that. He was playing up top, believe it or not.
Soccer Aid.
No, it was called The Match before that. It used to be on Sky One. It was on St James's, but remember him playing up top. He only moved about 3 yards and came off. But yeah, Jimmy Greaves are obviously fantastic records, but I'm too young to know how much of this 20, 30 years before my time.
Well, I found a question from Elf Lord who messaged in the chat about 10 minutes ago. Lee, would you ever do a podcast with a true Geordie sometime?
Obviously there was been a history in the past, I would say, because he kind of called us out, didn't he? Saying that we didn't exist when 2-3 people on the table had just clapped with us a couple of weeks before. That was very disrespectful. Obviously at the same time we were under the same network as well. But look, I think that's now gone, and he's gone on and moved off Newcastle, left the market open for ourselves and other channels as well, and he's gone on to a bigger thing, and YouTube is his career, where it's not for us. YouTube is, we'd love to be like that, don't get me wrong, but we do it for the love, and I think there's a difference there. Not saying that True Geordie doesn't do YouTube for the love, I just don't think True Geordie would carry on doing YouTube videos if there was no money there, whereas we would in terms of Newcastle, and we're there home and away. We're at every game, so it is there. People have said, "Oh, would you go on the kickoff?" And I've seen that in the live chat.
Yeah, it's been a couple.
Yeah, I would do that. I think that door's now gone now, and
it is now.
I think we'll take the bigger man to apologise first. I'm not apologising first. My reaction was wrong, yes, but the way that he went on about, not just that, about fan channels in general. I didn't like it.
Well, we'll come towards the end of the show, so we've got time for 2 more questions on that one. David Tron, I know you's watching the Super Bowl tonight. I will be. My team, the Philadelphia Eagles, went out to the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago, but I'll be backing the Kansas City Chiefs to win the night against the 49ers. I don't like them at all. My dad's team, so I really don't want them winning the night. But former coach Andy Reid used to be a massive Eagles legend. He's leading them to Super Bowl, so I wish them nothing but the best. A message just came through from WhatsApp as well. If Jordan continues to misfire, would you think about throwing Shaw up front? Would that be worth a shout?
No.
No.
No, if you're familiar with non-league football, Fabian Schär is pretty much exactly like Shaw Newton at York. Likes a good shot from range.
This is a podcast for Fan TV, Rob.
No nonsense defender. There's a lot of similarities between those 2 players, but up front, it's
in the dying minutes, perhaps.
Oh yeah, maybe. I mean, we've seen Stranger Things. David Pearce threw up David James up top on the final day of the 2000. Yes, Stuart Pearce. Yeah,
not David Pearce.
Yeah, sorry.
Dave Pearce, who's from Radio 1 DJ.
Well, Les Ferdinand.
Apologies.
Stuart
Pearce.
Les Ferdinand. Keegan used to put Les Ferdinand in the last 5 to 10 minutes as centre back and go 3 at the back. So Dion Dublin, he can go back and forward. So last minute I'll chuck Lascelles up or whoever if you're going to go long, but not. But
never to start.
Nah, not on top. Nah.
I seen a comment earlier on, Lee, when we're on about what do you see happening in 5 years?
Yeah.
You doing your own cooking show, Lee? Do you fancy it?
I kind of cook.
So it's a ready meal and some chips out the fryer.
It's the microwave for me, but I can oven cook a few things. Don't get me wrong, because obviously I've got to feed my kids and stuff like. Well, I say kids. I've only got one that I know. I might, unless I've got some hidden somewhere. But no, I think no, it's not for me cooking. It's not my kind of thing. I kind of cook. So.
Quick question we'll answer before the end. Ever consider merging with any other Newcastle United YouTube fan channels? Adam Taylor sent that one in.
No. We've got our own. There was talk about possibly a north-east one where we'd have Sunderland, Borough and Newcastle as the north-east, but we will never merge with another Newcastle channel because we've got our own identity and I wouldn't want to lose that.
Fair point. I mean, I've got mass respect for the other lads that whether it's a podcast every week or the Magpie channel, what they do, much respect to them. They've got their own identity like we have. But if Lee is to know, then fair enough.
No, I think it's got our own identity. We love what we do. I wouldn't want that to change.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. We're closing in on the end of the show, though. It's there's 50 seconds left until 8 o'clock. So that'll be just about it for the Black and White show this week. It's been a really good show. Sam moves around us, and Rob goes to take the place to shut down the show on an over radio standpoint. But it's been a fantastic show this week. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the Q&A, because I thought it was a really good addition to the show. I really enjoyed doing it. Lee didn't think it was much of a good idea, but
I didn't say that. I said blank screens are not good ideas.
Well, blank screen for the stream, but I think it went really well. I've really enjoyed doing it. I think the lads around the table have enjoyed partaking in it as well. But I've been Kyle. This has been Rob, Lee, and Sam. As always, fantastic having you on. And make sure you catch one Tuesday and through the week. See you all later.
When I walk into the kitchen, you saw the look on my face. You saw the look on my heart to get out of this place. I seen something I've never seen before. When you put on the pineapple, we couldn't be friends anymore. Pineapple